thousands of agents and our international speakers. They say by radically changing your mindset, not only can you change your outlook on life, but affect the actual results you obtain. Welcome to Midweek Mindfreak.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Well, we're excited for another great Wednesday. I like every topic we do. It's because we pick the topics.
Yeah, this one's a good one, though.
They're all good ones. So we're going to be talking about regrets in life. I was reading an article from a woman who worked in hospice care. So she worked with people that were like on their deathbed. And for over years, she got to hear them speak and talk about their regrets in life how they spent their life on earth. It's got to kind of be a crazy perspective if you think about it, to day in, day out.
Your story after
people,
story, yeah.
Of people that are spending their last days here on earth, something that we're all eventually going to go through, but not many people really think about that. And when you really put that in perspective, then you start to think about what are your regrets. And a lot of people don't really think about it until something tragic happens in their life.
We talk about it all the time.
Yeah, we do. But I don't think most people talk about death and life and regrets and what they're doing until something tragic happens. Mm-hmm. And how many times you see that it's all of a sudden, it's like they have this whole different outlook on life. But just like everything else, then it becomes temporary, and then they're back doing the same old thing, and they forget how they thought and felt during those tragic times. So we're going to talk about regrets, because here's what we're hoping.
No regrets.
Oh, that was good. You have a tattoo of that. Anyway, so we're going to talk about some regrets, and then maybe it might stir something and goes, you know what, that's me, and I'm not waiting till the end of my life,
right.
Or sometimes we don't even know when that is.
Right, you don't want to have to say some of these things is what we're saying.
Yeah, so the first one is something that's going to hit home with a lot of people. I know it hits home with us too, is worrying about what others think about you. Think about you so much, it almost cripples you sometimes. We go through life just always putting so much importance into other people, what they have to say about your life.
I used to, like in a bad way.
In a bad way.
Worry all the time what people thought.
You know, how they judge you, what they'll think of you, how they'll even defamate your character. That's a big word. I know you like that. Mm-hmm. Defamate. I had to look it up because I said defamate.
Defecate.
Wow. So anyway, so let's go to some comments here too while we're at it. See if anybody's got any comments. A lot of good mornings here. All right. Well, there we go. Oh, Marsha, a good old friend of mine from New York. So that was one of the things I even know is big with us, that it's not just worrying about what people think and say, is what are they going to tell others? Mm-hmm. And then what are those other people going to think and say about you?
It's a terrible spiral.
Oh, it's horrible. And until you start to realize that you have to get to a point where you got to say, I don't give a shit.
Right. You really do.
You are your person, and if you're doing the right thing by you, your family, the people around you, and God, and it doesn't matter. That people-pleasing concept will suck you in all the time. And here's the crazy thing. Even when you please those people, they'll still find something negative to say.
Right.
It's dumbfounding, the spiral that what you'll go into. So I also thought of thinking of what are some of the signs that you have that you may be falling into this trap.
You might be a people pleaser if.
Oh, you
Is that
might
we're playing?
Yeah, sure. Why not? You might be a people pleaser if you're afraid of what they really think or believe in you. That you just go through life.
That's pretty literal.
All right, well, let's do another
Do
one.
another one.
So you might be a people pleaser if you think things that you don't, they make you do things that you don't really want to do. You ever get to that point, you go, I don't know why I'm doing this.
Oh yeah, why did I just do that?
We say that. Like, why are we doing that? What? So that person doesn't say something?
Can I add one? I have a good one.
Yeah, you have a good one.
You might be a people pleaser if you're different around different groups of people. That was my problem.
Oh, you're like a little chameleon.
Yeah, but in a bad way, not in a
Yeah.
gracious way.
How about this one? Because you avoid certain people because you think that they don't really like you. Come on, I think that's a good one.
Well, it is because it might just be all in your head. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's in your head.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just ask them.
Yeah, just ask them.
See how that goes.
Here's the point to the first one. You know what? On your deathbed, it really doesn't matter what anybody else has to say about you. Period. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
So don't have that regret in life that you're letting people consume you. Oh, even Jody popped on there.
Hi, Jody.
Oh, she's a super people pleaser.
Don't do it. Repent. Turn away. So my first one I'm super passionate about because it's something that's on my mind daily. I know that Chuck and I talk about it a lot. Is a big regret letting your marriage break down. If you guys know me, I am so passionate about dating your husband, good communication, working every single day, not brushing anything under the rug. Because although, more people will divorce than stay married. And although a lot of people will tell you, and some people should be divorced. I'm not saying,
No, we don't condone it, but
not that every situation is repairable, but nothing happens overnight. And so every single day, you and your significant other get to make the decision to communicate, to stay together, to date each other, to be vulnerable and not hide anything. You have that power, just the two of you. And so even though I've talked to lots of people who have been divorced, many of them will say that, number one, they can totally point to their part in it, of course. But number two, they wish they didn't. They just wish it wouldn't have happened, that they would have let it go so far down the road that it's irreparable and it ends up in divorce.
Yeah, and I think some people think the grass is greener on the other side, and where working it out is definitely sometimes the smarter thing to do. I know we always talk about that.
Yeah.
We're the only two in control of our relationship, and we won't let anything.
Nothing. I won't. There's no way I'll let nothing. Not my kids. Nothing. Yeah.
So
don't have that regret. If you're like on the verge of saying I'm done, think again. Talk to some people. Get a different perspective. Call me. Let's figure it out.
Yeah. The next thing that a lot of people have regrets in is not having enough confidence in themselves. I look back on that, not having confidence in yourself, and my initial reaction is, why wouldn't people have confidence in themselves? But then I look back in the day, and I didn't even have confidence in myself. And you go around just thinking that everybody else has got their shit together, and they don't. So you need the grass is green where you walk. Oh yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yep, I like that one. So having confidence in yourself actually frees you up to do a lot of things, and I think the people pleasing one actually affects the confidence in yourself because you're worried about what people think. Now we got the stupid dog just come in. Get out of here, dog.
Sorry.
So a lack of confidence can have a dramatic effect on your life in so many different areas. You know what it does to a lot of people when they don't have confidence? It keeps them in a comfort zone. But here's the crazy thing. People think there is such a thing as a comfort zone. There isn't. It's a false sense of illusion because I believe you're either moving forward or you're moving backward. Mm-hmm. And people think they can preserve comfort where they're really not. Then they want to know why they're miserable or they feel like their life was just in shambles towards the end of their life.
Well, what about the people? What about the people who pretend like they have all the confidence in the world, so they're pretenders?
Great pretenders. There's a song,
I
an
know.
old song. Nope, not going to sing it. Here's another thing: when you have lack confidence, you don't communicate well. Sometimes you keep stuff to yourself. Maybe if you're in a group setting and you don't say what's on your mind, and somebody else goes, "I was going to say that." Don't. Once again, the people pleasing thing, but have more confidence in who you are. You know, one of the things that I think that I want to bring up that me and you found when we were failures in the business, and when we started to see some huge success, I'm trying to think the word to use. We looked at, idolized certain people.
Yes, we talk about that all the time.
Oh my gosh, we thought that person was so great
Yeah, or
at
so
what they
smart.
did. And then once we started to become successful, we're looking, we're like, they don't know crap.
Wait, how about running a business where we literally would look and say, because it's so hard to run a business. I mean, it's like so hard. How about we used to look at other businesses and go, they have it all together. Why don't we have it all together? Nobody has it all together.
Nobody has it all together.
Which is really scary.
Jody said she's going to be calling. Jody, you were invited to come down for a session, and you have not. So that was funny.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So what else does that do? Not having confidence. It puts you in a negative mindset.
Well, you can't be true to anything if you don't have any confidence. You can't be true to relationships or to your business or anything because you're already so self-consumed with whatever you think.
Yeah, and then the last thing with confidence, you know what I think a lot of people do? They correlate it with perfection.
Yeah,
and they feel like if they're going to make a mistake, they're not going to do it. So they're not confident because they want to do things perfectly. And that's debilitating. That can really paralyze you going into your life. Remember, what we're talking about is regrets towards the end of your life, and you start to look back and you go, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that? And a lot of times is because you felt like you were going to make a mistake and or judged by other people. Don't do
a lot
that,
of
guys.
These are all entwined.
Oh my gosh.
Negative, these things feed off of each other in a negative way. So my next one is a regret that, and it's going to sound surface at first, but I'll explain. Getting involved with the wrong people. And I don't even mean running with the wrong crowd or, hanging out with a bunch of degenerates, although that's applicable. What I really was thinking about is that you did not pay attention and take to heart that it really, really, really matters who you surround yourself with. It matters who your friends are. It matters who you do business with. As a married couple, it matters who you go out with or don't go out with. And I think that if people were really honest, that's a huge regret that they didn't take the effort to either weed out poison or seek out what's good and lovely and that upholds. Like, I don't want to hang out with a couple who behind each other's back talk shit about the other people. I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to be subjected to that.
Yeah, you once again, when you talk about regrets, you go through life and you wonder why your life felt like crap. Look at the people that were in your life the whole time. And here's the funny thing I've heard from people that are getting towards the end of their life. I don't know what that really even means, but I guess when you're approaching 100, that's got to mean
pretty certain.
You're getting close.
Yeah.
Where they look back and they go, the people that they thought were important in their life are nowhere even to be found.
Yeah.
It's they're only in your life because of what you could provide for them at that time.
Well, that's a lot. That's true of a lot of people. But that regret, I would hate to wake up at the end of my life going, why did I not make better choices in people?
Yeah.
That would be hard.
Yeah. The next one is trusting that voice in your head. Or another way of putting it is that gut feeling. People talk about, oh man, I had that gut feeling, or I can't believe that. And then it came to fruition. I should have went with my gut.
Yeah.
Or my intuition. Well, I looked up the definition of intuition. The ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. So I did a little investigating about that. What is this gut feeling? Because I get it a lot. And I get it where somebody says, well, it just felt right to make that move or to do something.
Yeah, you have great discernment.
And I found out there is actual facts behind it. So here's the fact that I did some research on, and it says 95% of our brain's activity happens at the unconscious level. So just because we're consciously thinking and only 5% happen, that actual intuition is because our brain is constantly consuming things we're not even aware of.
Yeah.
So that decision is really based on some sort of facts. It was actually crazy when I was thinking about that. So guys, go with your gut feelings. Don't have the regrets to go, man, I should have went with my gut on that situation, that person. We're being bombarded by information all the time. And whether we think it or not, our brain is processing it. So gut reaction is a big thing.
I think that one of the things that I thought about when you were just talking is, if you're a Christian, if you've got the Lord Jesus Christ, you also have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. And sometimes those gut reactions are promptings from the Spirit to help us to make the right decisions or get out of trouble or whatever it is.
Yep. And Nicole, she does have it.
She
Nicole
does have good.
A right-hand girl there. She does have it. But the other thing I think when people start getting good intuition is, remember you were just saying, it all intertwines. When you're hanging around the right people all the time and you're constantly brainstorming and thinking and positive.
Mm-hmm. They speak into your life and call you out.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. When you really think of success at a different level, people say there isn't, it's not a coincidence that when you're constantly around the right people, right mindset, you start to think differently and great things happen in your life. And we always talk the opposite. When you're around negative energy and negative people and you're moping and you're negative, wah, wah, wah.
It's the worst.
Then all of a sudden, here's what you hear people saying. All the bad things happen to me.
Why does it always happen to me? Why do I get all the bad clients? Why do I get all the hard deals?
You actually attract it.
I know, it's awful.
You really do. There's so much truth behind all we say. We're like geniuses, me and you. We are, well, okay, me then.
You're a genius. You're a genius. He has a lot of confidence. Okay, so the next one is, regrets. Oh my gosh, this would be a terrible regret to have. Settling for less, not taking risks, wishing you would have just taken that chance, but you didn't because you're a weenie and you didn't want to be uncomfortable. So you said, I'm not going to take that step or take that risk. I might fail, or whatever weenie excuse you want to make. I really think if you were to get to the end of your life and say, if I just would have taken that chance or taken that risk. And life is exciting. I'm not saying crazy risks like jump out of a plane with no parachute, but the everyday chances and opportunities you have to be bold in what you say, make decisions in your business, go talk to that person that you're nervous to talk to.
I'll give you one.
Give me one.
That happened in my life is I don't really care to fly. Like, I'm not going to say I'm petrified and I have panic attacks, but it's not the favorite thing in the world to do.
Yeah, he would refuse some things.
But then I realized, and this is a radical mindset change, is I go, why am I living in fear of something that hasn't happened and something I'm not even in control of anyway? And so then we started to travel to Europe a lot.
Thank the Lord.
And we've been doing this for, 6, 7, 8 years now?
Yeah.
And although I don't like the travel part,
I do.
I love the destination and what we have. So I'm not going to go at the end of my life.
Oh, that's a really good analogy. You don't like the travel part, but you like the destination.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good analogy.
I told you, I am a genius.
Oh my gosh.
I tell you that all the time.
He tells everybody that all the time.
You see, when you tell somebody enough, they start to believe it. You convince them.
I'm a pretty girl. I'm a pretty girl.
You are a pretty girl. But doesn't, you don't have to keep telling people that. But anyway, that's one of the things, because I think that's another regret in life, that they didn't travel more, they didn't experience life more.
Because it feels like a risk sometimes.
Yeah.
Or they're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
That's the worst. That would be a terrible regret.
Which leads to my next one.
What is that?
Don't look at my screen. Be happier more.
Oh, God, for God's sakes. Yes.
People take life
too seriously.
Look,
for sure.
I might get a lot of feedback, not feedback, maybe a lot of bitching when I'm going to say what I'm going to say right now. But I'm going to have to say it. Especially what's going on in this world. People are crippled
by fear.
By this pandemic. Here's the logic part that we were just talking about yesterday on our walk, that I'm sitting here going, okay, so let me get this straight. Let's hide in our house because we're afraid we're going to die from something and catch something. So let's not live our life and hide in the house because we might die, but we're going to die anyway and do nothing living in our house. Well,
insanity.
It is.
That's insanity.
Look, I'm not saying don't take precaution. If you feel like you have to wear a mask and gloves, that's great. But here's what I'm going to tell you. You may think you're hiding from COVID-19 and then a week later have cancer.
You never know.
You don't know.
You have to live your life. Be joyful. Have joy.
Have joy in your life. Choose joy. Choose fun.
Oh, I wish I was wearing my shirt that said choose joy.
Choose excitement. Gosh, we live our life to the fullest. And, you know, people are so serious. We just met with someone the other day after that. Me and her, we crack jokes all the time. We're funny. We're just funny people. If you want to laugh and have fun, hang around with us. Do you hear that, Jody?
We are really delightful.
So we were hanging around, and this girl didn't even crack a smile. I actually thought, like, when she attempted to, like it was
like her face was going to break. Literally, she laughed a couple times like this.
Or do you ever deal with people that you'll have to say to them afterwards, it was a joke. Like, I'm trying to make a joke.
Worse than that, you walk away from that conversation feeling completely drained and like, we left that conversation. We were like, oh my gosh, never again. It was hard.
So I can't overemphasize. Remember the context we're saying all this in. We're talking about regrets, but specifically when I was reading this article from this woman, that what she does day in and day out are sit with people that are pretty much at the end of their life.
Yeah, and hearing their regrets.
And she hears this over and over and over. But the sad part is, well, I don't know if it's the sad part, but one of the parts of life is most people don't sit at the end of their life. Sometimes their life just ends. And so they don't really have a time to reflect on it. And
it should be a daily reflection.
Wow, that's right.
It really
and we
should
actually
be.
do that.
We do. We take that very seriously because you know how serious we are about mindset. And you cannot, if you don't exercise your mindset, then that is reflecting every day on one thing or another.
Yep. Go. Life is short. You better get out and live it. You know, I read a book. I forgot what the book was. It was a guy back in the Roman times. Remember I told you to read that book?
And I didn't, so I'm not going to be able to help you.
It was so profound. But he said something. He says, life ain't short. It isn't. We all have a lifespan. That's our life. It's not short. But what makes it feel short is as you get older and you reflect back, you go, oh my gosh, my life was short. And we all have a life to live. Live it.
Mm-hmm.
Stop sitting on Facebook. Stop worrying about what other people are saying or doing or basking in fear or misery. Choose life.
Yep, and I have one more.
Choose joy.
Is it my turn?
Wait, I don't know. Let me see. Do I have anything? Yeah, you can do it. Just smile.
I wish you would have said that. That's hilarious.
You do a little dance.
So I think my last one would be the absolute worst, most awful regret for any person. And it centers around the person of Jesus Christ. So 2 ways to talk about it. If you don't know him, it doesn't hurt to go and do all you can to figure out if he's real, if he's Lord. And if you do know him, for God's sakes, don't stay silent about it. You need to tell people and help people. We are hungry. And that is the biggest regret. I cannot even imagine getting to the end of my life and saying, I didn't even try, or I didn't say enough, or I didn't. That would be the biggest regret. So I urge you guys to find out.
It's actually amazing when you really think about it. And I always say it's spiritual warfare, and I really do believe in that. And if you hear my testimonies, I talk about that. But it's amazing that really what Jesus is love. And when you really understand the root of it, there's no condemnation, there's no judgment. And who doesn't want love? It's truly amazing what that will provide for you. So to wrap it up, once again, regrets. What is it? Somebody said, oh, Jody Sunshine. There she is.
Oh, you guys, we don't want you to live a life of regret. I mean, I think that would be such a tragedy, especially since you can affect these things. You can decide to live your life in such a way that you don't have to come to the end of your life, or even if it happens suddenly, you don't have to say to yourself in the last moment, gosh, why didn't I? I wish I did. I wish I didn't. We all do things that are stupid, and we can learn from those things. That's okay. But if you're making intentional choices of some of these things that we've talked about today, you don't have to.
I want to kind of wrap it up with this to really maybe hammer home that maybe you're out there listening, and you just feel like your life is ho-hum and in shambles. You're a people pleaser. You're afraid to do things. You don't go with your gut. Here's the thing: it's your life. Do something about it.
Yeah.
Do something about it. Get out there. Stop worrying about. When we moved our extremely successful brokerage over for a bigger opportunity, people looked at us like we were nuts.
Yeah, we're nuts.
We are nuts, but we also would get to enjoy life. Mm-hmm. And we take risks, and we have fun doing it. And I don't worry if something fails. If that fails, we'll move on to something else.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I don't worry if I fail. I'll be successful at something because I know me. Because you all have that in you. Mm-hmm. Nobody's better than another person. You don't look and go, well, that's not me. I'm not you guys, or I'm not them. No, you are. You're a human being created in God's image that can have massive success. Life is what you make it. Yeah. And don't wait for the end or what you may perceive as the end. So get rid of those regrets.
Yep.
Go have some fun. And
we love you guys.
We appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. And okay. You guys have a great day and a great week. God bless you.